Hello and welcome to another Daily Devo. Now, most of you probably know me. Just in case we never had the opportunity to meet, I am Joshua Brussel, and I teach Bible to an amazing group of middle schoolers at Mount Calvary Christian School. And today we're going to be looking at 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 through verse 17. Before we dive into that, I want to take us to 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today, your spring break would have been just over. Your alarm clock would have gone off early. You would have rolled out of your bed, traveled to school, and it would have been your first day learning with your friends the Monday after break. But today went completely different. In fact, the past 2 weeks have been completely different. And if you're anything like me, things are beginning to settle into this new routine. But I'm sure that just like me, if you pause, you know things are not normal. Life has changed a lot. No school, no youth group, no friends, no sports. I just want to tell you today that it's okay to be a little sad about that. I'm sad about that. It's okay to miss God's good gifts. It's okay to grieve a little bit at the loss of a sports season, at these friendships that are now changing because we can't see each other face to face, or even the possibility of maybe missing out on a physical graduation. But I also want to remind myself and all of us today that God was not taken by surprise by this. In fact, He has big things in store for us. And I believe that He wants us to grow spiritually like never before in this season. He wants us to use this time to do the things that really, really matter. Things that make a kingdom-shaking, eternity-changing impact for His sake. Now, Paul is speaking to this truth as he is jotting down his letter to the Corinthians. Remember, this was a very imperfect church filled with pretty imperfect people. But Paul reminds them that Christians, from the worst to the best, have been given a foundation. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 11 explains to us what that foundation was. It says at the end of verse 11, it is Jesus Christ. This work, Jesus moving us from the kingdom of darkness to His kingdom of light, is our foundation. It's our launch pad from which our work on earth takes off from. Now, without this foundation, the saving work of Jesus, nothing we do will be good. So we know what our beginning point is. If we want to have an impact and use the season of our life to take perhaps the biggest spiritual steps we ever have, we need to start with the work of Jesus. But then what? Paul encourages the Corinthian church to invest their time in the things that really matter. And he explains this by painting a picture for them, by using this metaphor. Paul pictures the final judgment, this real day where all people will be gathered before God's throne. And looking through the lens of Paul in this passage, we can imagine that God says, okay, let's bring everyone's work out. Let's bring Joshua's life work out. And brought onto the center stage of heaven is this structure that represents everything I have ever done or said or thought. And the things that have had an eternal impact are represented with gold, silver, and maybe some diamonds. But the things that I did that didn't really matter, they are represented with wood, with hay, and with straw. Now, verse 13 pictures the fire of God testing my building, my structure. And His heat clears out everything that doesn't matter. The time that I spent being a superior FIFA player, it's all burned up. My draft 2020 March Madness brackets are laying smoldering at the bottom of the pile. Not that we need them at all in this time anyway, right? But the kind words that I said to that homeless person, they're still standing strong. The Devo time that I struggled to keep consistent as a teenager is still untouched. And the ways that I discipline my thoughts, they are still there. These are the things that really, really matter to God in light of eternity. Now, guys, bottom line of Paul's object lesson is crystal clear. We shouldn't lead our life avoiding the bad. I can't imagine an athlete ever winning an Olympic gold medal just by avoiding the bad stuff. Instead, we are called to actively invest in what is good. Paul's challenge for all of us today is this: don't waste this season that God has given to us. It may be hard. There are things that all of us miss. But when we get to heaven and look over our shoulder on our time on earth, we are going to want to see our life filled to the brim with things that really, really matter. So let's commit not to waste our time of social distancing, even though it's hard. Let's not waste these new big chunks of free time that have appeared in our schedules. Let's not waste our time in front of our screens and our devices. As we are launched off of the work of Jesus, we know that God has big things in store for us in this season. Let's not miss out by investing this season in the wrong things. Hey, I want you to know I'm praying for you. I miss you just like the entire team at Mount Calvary Christian School is. And before you tap away on today's video, I'd love for you to comment below. You're in the comments on the Google Classroom. How might you today do one thing different to make an eternity-lasting impact for Jesus?